Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? So it's been a minute. I intended on getting back on the uploading bandwagon the other week, but just with all the athletes competing over the last fortnight, it's been a little bit too much. I was essentially going to be biting off more than I could chew, so I just kind of cut my losses and didn't attempt to try edit and upload anything. But now that a lot of the shows are out of the way, now that a lot of my athletes have competed for the year, there's 2 left for 2 remaining shows. I've just got a lot more free time on my hands now, so getting back into it now. But I'm pretty proud of everybody. Well, I'm really proud of everybody. A lot of them were first-time competitors, actually. And yeah, they did exceptionally well. So I believe almost every athlete placed. Yeah, almost every athlete placed. So I couldn't be more ecstatic. And the ones that didn't place, I mean, they were in a very stacked lineup. I mean, it's probably the most competitive lineup I've seen in the last few years in Australia, and they were first-time competitors, and so they really held their own, and I know they're going to absolutely demolish it next time they compete. So yeah, it was a solid run of shows, a solid run of placings as well, and now it is time to get back into the usual routine of things, or a little bit more so. But yeah, 2 more shows remaining, 2 more athletes to compete for the year, and then it'll be all wrapped up until next year. And those shows will be international, so a Philippines show and a Vietnam show. So it'll be, Michaela and I will be traveling over to the Philippines on the 21st, I believe. Not too long away, 21st of October. It's crazy to think that the year is almost up. It's nearly Christmas time, but in light of recent events, I have a bit of news. I believe I've already mentioned one of my new sponsorships, but I've got 2 new sponsorships. I've got one for health supplements or health products, and another one for protein powder, that sort of thing. So I'll show you. So this is one of my new sponsors. I believe I might have already mentioned it in the last video I uploaded, but Medibolic, it's a New Zealand-based company. They make bodybuilding health support supplements. So this is their liver support supplement. You can see the ingredient profile here. It's a solid ingredient profile. It's got TUDCA, it's got choline, it's also got zinc, it's got some N-acetylcysteine. Hey buddy. And then their heart and kidney support. And the heart and kidney support is a very solid formulation. Got ubiquinol here. Hey, you all right there, mate? Got ubiquinol, hawthorn berry, astragalus. Also got pine bark extract and tribulus fruit. And then inositol as well. So solid ingredient profile there. If you use code Nicholas15, that'll save you 15% off. So yeah, definitely recommend those if you're in Australia or New Zealand. They ship very fast to Australia. I mean, I got these within a matter of days of them being posted. So this is my other sponsorship. So International Protein, I mean, it's a brand that I've always bought this protein powder from. It's my favorite protein powder. I've been using it for years now. It's Protein Synergy. It's a blend of a few different kinds of whey protein, casein, and also egg protein with added, get your tail out of the way, buddy, with added digestive enzymes. You're enjoying that way too much, mate. And then some essential amino acids, glutamine, and some easy to digest carbohydrates for my intra. And then this is a new product. This is a newest product in their line, actually. I haven't tried it before. It's a hydrolyzed vegan protein. Apparently it tastes amazing. Like, it's out of this world, the flavor apparently. And the good thing is these products are gluten-free, because I might be celiac. I'm going to be going through the testing soon. I'm not looking forward to eating a bunch of gluten though, because it always messes with my stomach, but you have to get a accurate test result as to whether or not you're celiac. You actually need to be eating a lot of it, otherwise you can get a false negative. So not looking forward to that, but in the meantime, I'm just trying to avoid gluten wherever possible. And so the fact that those products are gluten-free is a godsend. And if you use code Nicholas20, you'll get yourself 20% off on International Protein products. Couldn't recommend them more. because they are an Australian-based company. So if you are Australian and you want to support local businesses, I would definitely get behind them. But time to get this pre-workout meal sorted so Michaela and I can hit the gym. It's a limbs day today, or an appendage day if you want to call it what Terence Ruffin calls it. There we go. And one serving of this. So 2 servings a day, or well, half a serve twice a day. And my noon supplements. All right, something a little bit different for a change. Thought I'd do a voiceover this time and just fill you in, I guess, on what's been happening these last couple of months that I've been quite consistently inconsistent with uploading. So as you'd already know, if you have watched my previous videos that I have uploaded, I was sick a couple of times. Well, I actually got sick a third time since the most recent time I got sick, or the one that I most recently mentioned. So originally it was just a garden variety cold flu. I recovered from that, bounced back from that. Then I got hit with influenza A. And shortly thereafter, I recovered from that. And then I got hit with influenza B. So it was not a good time. It was a shitty month and a bit when that all happened. But it was unavoidable. Flu season this year in Australia was incredibly bad. But now that we're, knock on wood, now that we're through it, should be smooth sailing now until next year. But the amount of people that were sick in my local gym was pretty outrageous. So it wasn't a matter of if, but rather a matter of when, in terms of contracting what was spreading in the gym. I'd quite confidently say that almost every gym member has gotten at least one, if not multiple, viral infections or viruses this flu season. So it was a brutal flu season. It was pretty much unavoidable. There wasn't really a way to avoid it. So amidst all of that, I've also been prepping a handful of athletes on the team and peaking them over the last few weeks. So they all competed over the last 3 weeks. So between all of that and getting sick and recovering, and then also doing a cardiac MRI, I just haven't really had the time to do any video editing or uploading. So that's essentially what my life has looked like in a nutshell the past couple of months. But now I'm finally getting back to some normalcy. There's 2 athletes left for the year to compete, one being my fiance and another one being a guy named GMR. And they're both in the thick of their preps, in the final stretch, I should say. And so they'll both be doing the Philippines show on the 25th of October, which is the muscle contest. And then Michaela, my partner, she'll be doing the Vietnam show a week after that. So that's what remains on the competitive calendar for the team for the rest of the year. And then it is smooth sailing until next year, and then do it all over again. New handful of athletes competing, prepping, and it is going to be a good year. I can tell that already. But those athletes that did compete over the last few weeks, they did exceptionally well. I mean, almost everybody placed, took home a medal, and the athletes who didn't take home a medal, they were in what I would consider to be the most stacked lineup that Australian bodybuilding has had to offer over the last 5 years. So, I mean, if they had have competed 4 or 5 years ago when I last competed, geez, it's been that long already almost. I have no doubt in my mind that they would have placed on the podium, but just with the caliber of competition, the amount that the competition has leveled up over the last few years in Australia, it was just another level. And those who didn't place were first-time competitors. It was their first time prepping, and they held their own. They looked like they belonged up there on stage, so I couldn't be happier with their efforts and the outcome. I'm definitely proud of all my athletes. And Rico, in fact, one of my guys who competed for the first time, it was his bodybuilding debut. He actually took out the overall for his weight class in bodybuilding at the Pro Qualifier, which is basically Australia's national bodybuilding competitions. So there's 2 per year, 2 pro qualifiers per year, one earlier in the year, one later in the year. And yeah, he managed to take out the lightweight overall. And so, yeah, definitely happy with that. He took out the overall at his regional show as well, 2 weeks prior. So that was awesome to witness. And then a handful of the other athletes took home medals, both at the regional shows and at the pro qualifier. And yeah, now it's just time to basically wrap up the competitive season for the year with his last 2 shows overseas in the Philippines and Vietnam. So a bit of traveling coming up. Yeah, aside from that though, my training's been going all right. I mean, I've had to skip sessions here and there when I was sick, of course, taking a full week off. Each time I got sick, I just didn't want to spread it to anybody else. I'm just too considerate like that when it comes to being sick and not wanting to train in the gym, or I guess contaminate the gym equipment. But not everybody else shares that same level of consideration, which I've since learnt. But yeah, Michaela and I were just training legs here. I went on to train arms after we finished this, of course, because I do a torso and limb split at the moment. So still training 4 days a week, just following the torso and limbs split. So legs and arms together, and then chest, back, and shoulders together. And so I do 2 limb sessions per week and 2 torso sessions per week. The days do kind of vary. It does change a little bit, but essentially I try not to train more than 2 days in a row. That's the general rule of thumb that I abide by. And yeah, things are going pretty well. Hack squats are finally feeling good. So after I would deem to be months of troubleshooting and months of struggling with hack squats, feeling knee pain, not only in hack squats, but also in things like leg extensions, I've finally gotten on top of it thanks to my exercise physiologist, Tom. So yeah, finally sorted that out. It was predominantly due to a weak rec fem muscles. And so just strengthening those with some movement prep and making some little tweaks and adjustments to things, I've been able to bounce back. I've also wrapped up the deficit that I've been in for the last, God knows how many months. I've lost count at this point, but I believe it's something around the realm of 9 or 10 months I've been in a deficit, just obviously deliberately downsizing from when I had my heart complications last year, which I'm still dealing with, but things are slowly progressing. Still not out of the woods yet, but I'm happy with the improvements that have been made, and I'm just eager to make more improvements. But in the meantime, yeah, just doing what I can, ticking the boxes, showing up. But yeah, since I've been deliberately downsizing, I mean, it was inevitable I was going to get weaker, but I'm at a point now where I want to regain some strength, because my peak natural strength that I had back in the day before I made the switch to being assisted is higher than where my strength is at the moment. So I know that I can get stronger, and that's, I suppose, motivated me to just end the deficit and increase calories. So I'm sitting around maintenance now, hoping to gain some strength back and build a little bit of tissue. So body weight's kind of stable and maintaining around 97, 98 kilos. I can't recall what that is in pounds. I think it's about 216 pounds off the top of my head. So very light. I haven't been this light since I was a natty. But yeah, such is life. And just enjoying training again. I've noticed over the last couple of weeks, because I ended the deficit about, I'd say 2 weeks ago, strength is starting to return a little bit. Movements are just feeling a little bit better. And overall sleep quality's improved a little bit too, which is nice. And so yeah, just taking the small wins as they come. But single leg extensions feel fantastic at the moment, which I'm absolutely loving. I've been really focusing more on lower rep ranges lately, just from a efficiency standpoint more than anything. Having the sessions a little bit more condensed, keeping them a little bit shorter. And in terms of volume, I mean, I'm aiming aiming for anywhere between 3 and 6 working sets per session per muscle group. So volume more on the low moderate side, but if you make the sets count, that's all that's really needed, especially if you're accounting for frequency. I think programming for frequency and effort is more important than volume. Volume is obviously the last consideration, and it more so comes down to, in my opinion, a time constraint factor. So if you are strapped for time, doing 2 or 3 sets for an exercise probably isn't a worthwhile use of your time. You're probably just better off doing 1 set or 2 at the most. But if you've got more time to burn, and if you've got the desire to do more, then yeah, sure, doing 3 sets might be fine. I probably wouldn't do more than 3 sets for an exercise. It seems a little bit redundant after that 3rd set, in my opinion. The point of diminishing returns becomes too great from what I've found, from what I see in other individuals too. I mean, assisted individuals will think or sometimes convince themselves that they are getting a benefit from doing more than a 3rd set, but realistically the drugs are just allowing them to, I guess, get away with it, get away with shitty programming. That's probably the best way to look at it, because drugs will make you grow via different mechanisms to training, and so you get this kind of layered effect when you're an assisted bodybuilder or an assisted lifter. You're getting growth, like muscle growth, that's been driven by the drugs, and also muscle growth that's been driven by the training if you're training properly. But if you're not training properly and you're just taking drugs, you're really just getting muscle growth driven by the drug use, and then your training is just kind of this useless variable in the background that you think is doing something, but it actually isn't, because you're just either not training hard enough or you're just doing a bunch of junk volume. So just trying to be more, I guess you would say, efficient and minimalistic with my approach to training, to the point to which I'm enjoying it, and it's also not taking me forever to get a session done. But hack squats wise, I mean, I do want to try shave a little bit more depth off them. In the past, I've always been one of those proponents for full range of motion, and I think full range of motion is still important if you're talking about full range of motion of the muscle and not necessarily just full range of motion of the movement, because they're 2 different things. They're 2 different animals, 2 different beasts. And the thing that I don't like or dislike about the full range of motion movement that's, I suppose, perpetuated in the fitness industry is people get those 2 concepts or those 2 definitions mixed up. And it's not about how deep you can go in a hack squat if you're no longer really taking the target muscle that you're trying to train through an extended range of motion. If you're just going deeper for the sake of going deeper and it's not really benefiting your ability to train the target muscle, then what's the point of doing it? And that's what I'm kind of getting at. So I mean, when it comes to the whole ECM versus dead guy anatomy argument, I'm a little bit in the school of thought of the ECM is obviously a model, and it is a certain lens in which you can look at movement through, and I think it's very relevant, and anyone who dismisses it completely is a moron. But those who treat it as gospel and dismiss, I guess, other models are equally as stupid. And so I'm basically trying to, I guess, find that happy equilibrium between the concepts spoken about in the expansion and compression model, expansion and compression model, and then just the typical kind of dead guy anatomy. And so hack squats, I'm trying to focus on creating a little bit more internal rotation at the hips and maintaining a slight bit of posterior tilt moving forward over the next couple of months. That's what I'll be really focusing on. And then just shortening the range of motion, just shaving the depth, so I'm not just going right down to the hack squat, burying it for the sake of full range of motion, bro. So yeah, that's basically what I'm doing with hack squats, and my goal is to get back to my peak.
36 p.m.
That was just my Apple Watch going off. Just had to ruin the voiceover there. So yeah, my focus over the next few months, or I should say longer than the next few months, my focus between now and early next year is to get back to my peak natural strength on hack squats, which was about, from memory, 5 plates per side for 6 to 10 reps. That's without a reverse band. I'm not using a reverse band at the moment. So yeah, that's the goal. In terms of pressing, I would like to get back to 3 plates a side on Smith machine for reps, but we'll just have to see how that goes, because that's how strong I was naturally on the Smith press. But as you probably have experienced yourself, I experience it every single time I diet. My pressing dive bombs, My back, I can actually get stronger a lot of the time as I'm dieting with my back, and I think that's just due to my mechanical advantages and disadvantages. I'm more mechanically built to, I guess, be strong with my back versus my chest. And some people, it's the polar opposite. Other people find the opposite is true, that they're just very naturally built and strong on presses, and then rows and vertical pulls, they're not so much. And we all have our own strengths and weaknesses that are heavily governed by our anthropometry. So, I mean, the limb lengths of our body and various other, I guess, characteristics of our physiology do underpin what muscle groups are going to be more predisposed to being stronger and which one's going to be more predisposed to being weaker. But we just have to play to our strengths and do the best that we can with our weaknesses, right? But yeah, in terms of my training at the moment, I'm enjoying it. Again, like I said, on the lower volume side, but it works for me because given my schedule, I don't think I could go back to training any more than 4 days a week, and I just don't see the point. I mean, if your goal is to progress, if your goal is to build muscle, whether you are using drugs or whether you're natural, I really don't think there is a time and a place a lot of the time to be training more than 4 days a week. You could make an argument that you can make it work, but is it giving you any benefit? Is it superior to 4 days a week? And I would argue no. I would argue in almost all scenarios, almost every scenario or situation, it is not superior. In fact, it could be inferior in a lot of ways, especially if you aren't keeping up with your recovery modalities and staying on top of that. I mean, let's be real. Not many of us are getting perfect sleep every night. Not many of us are dialing things in to an absolute T every single day to the point to which we could justify training more than 4 days a week while benefiting from it. So I think the lowest hanging fruit, or just a smarter move, is to just cut back the number of sessions you're doing per week and focus on quality over quantity. So that's what I've been doing, and I'm really enjoying it. So that's pretty much all that I had to say, to be honest. I don't believe there's anything else I need to touch on. So yeah, in terms of the arm training here, I only did 2 sets for the single arm preacher, 2 sets for the single arm hammer curls. And then in terms of triceps, I only did 2 sets in total for triceps because after this session, the following day, I have a torso session where I do a bunch of pressing. So I don't want to be going into that session super fatigued and having, I guess, my triceps training from this session negatively affect or impact my chest training in the following day. So I kept the direct tricep work to a bare minimum. And what I might potentially do is either put a day between these sessions in the near future, or alternatively, I might completely avoid direct tricep work on my limbs session and perhaps just do a little bit of tricep work at the end of my torso session. So it's technically not really a torso and limb split anymore. It'll be a legs and biceps and then upper body minus the biceps. But I really do enjoy the torso limb split. So what I might end up doing is just switching my training. So I have a 1 day on, 1 day off paradigm, which I'm absolutely going to hate because me being autistic and liking routine, I hate the thought of not having a 7-day training week calendar where every session is the same day of the week every week. If I do it every other day paradigm, that is going to go out the window, and my training session days are going to change week to week. But it might be what's ideal for recovery and performance, so I might have to do it. So that'll involve me doing, say, a training session, resting, and rinse and repeat. But yeah, I'll wrap it up here. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and I'll see you next time. Peace out till then. Oh, and I also forgot to mention the Universal Performance oversized t-shirt that I was wearing. They will be available before the end of the year. So I will let you know when they are on the website up for sale. There will be worldwide shipping available.